The apartment door was unlocked. I remember thinking that was strange, because she always double-locked it, even when she was inside. It was her birthday. I'd told her I couldn't make it. Work, deadlines, the usual lie. My daughter and I flew in the night before, planned the surprise together. Cake in one hand, flowers in the other. When I turned the key, the smell hit first. Something sweet, cloying, wrong. Then came the scream. "Dad, don't go in!" Her voice cracked. Pure panic. I froze mid-step, my hand still on the doorknob. "What's wrong?" She didn't answer at first, just pulled me back with more strength than I thought she had. Her face was pale, eyes fixed upward. "Dad," she whispered, "look." I followed her trembling hand, and for the first time in years, I couldn't breathe. There was a shirt hanging from the ceiling fan, a man's shirt, not mine. The rest, I wish I could unsee. It took me a moment to realize what I was looking at. At first I thought it was a trick of light, fabric twisted with something else, something dark. But then the shape took form, flesh, weight. He was hanging there, naked from the waist up. I stepped back, numb. My daughter clung to my arm, sobbing quietly. I called the police. I didn't speak much, just gave the address, waited. When they arrived, she finally came out of the bedroom, my wife, dressed hastily, mascara running. She looked at me like a stranger. No words, no tears, just shock that I was there at all. The officers questioned her. She said she'd gone for groceries and came back to this. But I knew that look, the one she gave the body. Not horror, recognition. They called it a suicide. I called it something else. That night, after my daughter fell asleep in the hotel, I stared at the ceiling until dawn. Every conversation I'd ever had with my wife replayed in my head. Every distant call, every late night at work, every subtle lie I'd buried under trust. A week later, I returned to the apartment, alone this time. There was still a faint stain on the ceiling, a faint echo of something that refused to leave. I walked the rooms slowly. Her perfume lingered. So did his. I found a photo under the bed. Her at the lake house, smiling. The man from the ceiling was behind her, half out of frame. My hands shook, but not from grief. Grief is loud. What I felt was quieter, colder. I called her the next morning. She didn't answer. By then, I'd already hired someone to look into him. His name was Daniel Reed. Divorced, no kids, accountant. They'd been living together for months. Her work apartment was never hers alone. He'd found out she was married, that she had a daughter, that the money she promised him didn't exist. And then, 1 week before her birthday, he withdrew every cent from his account and texted her, "We need to talk." He never sent another message. 2 weeks later, the police report arrived. He hadn't hanged himself. Not completely. There were bruises inconsistent with self-suspension, marks on his wrists, defensive wounds on his knuckles. I read it 3 times, calm and deliberate. When I finally called her, she answered on the first ring. Her voice was hollow. "You read it?" she asked. I did. Silence. Then, softly, "You don't understand. He was going to ruin everything. He said he'd tell you. He said—" "I know," I said. She started to cry. Not from guilt, from fear. That's when I told her about the clause. The one in our marriage trust that stated any criminal conduct nullifies entitlement to joint assets. Her breathing hitched. I hung up. The next day, I visited her. She opened the door like a ghost wearing her own skin. "You can't prove anything," she whispered. "I don't have to," I said. "The auditors will." I handed her a folder. Inside, financial records, texts, statements. Enough to freeze everything she'd built her lies around. She sank onto the couch, staring at the papers like they might dissolve if she cried hard enough. "Why?" she choked out. "You killed him," I said. "Not with your hands, with your promises." She shook her head, muttering something about love, about mistakes. But love doesn't hang itself from the ceiling. I turned to leave. She reached for me, fingers trembling. "Please," she said. I looked at her hand, then at the stain on the ceiling. "You should clean that," I said. "It's starting to show." It's been 6 months. My daughter doesn't talk about that day. I don't ask her to. Sometimes I still see the shape when I close my eyes, the slow turn of the ceiling fan, the dead weight of truth. But the part that stays with me isn't the man, or her, or the lies. It's my daughter's voice. The moment she said, "Dad, don't go in," she saved me from walking into that room blind. I wonder if that was the first time she realized what kind of woman her mother really was. Or the first time I finally did. The ceiling's still there in my mind, and every time I look up, I remember how silence can hold a body longer than rope ever could.